Aloha and welcome back to Leaving the Church to Find God, your safe space for exploring faith beyond traditional walls. I'm your host, Melissa, and whether you grew up in the evangelical church like I did, or any other system while seeking answers, you're in the right place. This podcast isn't about judgment or attacking institutions. It's about honest conversations, diverse spiritual paths, and celebrating the unique journeys that we all take in search of meaning. We've all experienced indoctrination in some form, and here we explore how it shapes our understanding of ourselves and the divine. Each week, we'll dive into thought-provoking topics, share inspiring stories from guests and listeners like you, and offer tools and insights for navigating your own deconstruction journey. Remember, leaving the church doesn't mean leaving your faith. It's about finding your own authentic connection to something greater. So buckle up, embrace the open dialogue, and join me as we explore what it means to move beyond confines and discover the deeper personal connection to the divine that exists within us all. Aloha, God Pod. Welcome back. I am Catherine Melissa Whittington, your host. If this is your first time coming here, thank you for being here. If you are a repeat listener, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all so much. And I am really feel a lot of purpose in bringing this conversation forward today. I am not a $50 million coach. Right now I'm not coming here from Buddha on the mountaintop. I'm coming here in the trenches with you to talk about money and abundance. So today is August 8th. A year ago, for those of you who aren't aware, on Maui, we had massive fires all over the island. It burned down the entire town of Lahaina, which was the Hawaiian kingdom. It hosted many generations of local families who still are not housed. And it was devastating. It was devastating in so many ways. So many lives were lost. And in honoring that, I want to bring us to a place that returns to joy and abundance. So here on Maui, we are very much dependent on tourism. We don't have to be, but thanks to greed and corruption, we are. And every time there's something that happens that halts tourism, it affects everyone here deeply, or not everyone, but those who are the working class get very deeply affected, because even if your business is a business that serves local families, many of those local families are dependent on tourism. So it just being in the service industry, in the hospitality industry, most of the people I know are massage therapists or photographers. That's what we do here. And it has had a great impact on us. But I know that impact is not just here. It's something like financially, lack of money and scarcity, it tends to be something that continues to repeat for people. And this experience in Maui has really, coming out of COVID, where we were very deeply affected and completely shut down, which I appreciate and I understand the reason for it. It also depleted many of us, including myself, financially. All of my, clear debt, I had no debt and big savings, and I was doing really well. And then COVID happened. I got long COVID, which has been a 3-year journey. And just as I was starting to catch up, the island caught on fire. Not to say this because I'm looking for sympathy, but because it forced me to go deep. And I've spent the last year trying to make ends meet and digging into my money wounds and my money blocks, and this feeling of scarcity that it seems like I'm either working myself into, an oblivion and having very little social life or personal life and just working all the time to be abundant, or I, in lack. And I know, because I know my source, because I know who I am, that is not the natural state for myself or for any of us. So this past year has really, really forced me to go deep into this, whether I wanted to or not. And I'm grateful for it, because I have come to some really great insights, and I feel compelled to share them with you here today, not as Buddha on the mountaintop again, but as someone in the trenches. And even from this place of recovery, I can say these things with confidence and full, complete knowing. So I'm going to start with the church because that's what we do, right? And many of us have heard these teachings in church that discourage wealth and put shame around financial success. There's scriptures like Matthew 19:24, where Jesus says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who's rich to enter the kingdom of God, or for a rich man to go to heaven, depending on which version you're reading. There's 1 Timothy 6:10, which says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And these things have been used to instill fear and guilt about wealth. One thing about wielding, you'll hear me say over and over again, how I'm not a Bible thumper. Like, there's value in there, sure. There's also a lot of bullshit in there. So I don't depend on scripture and I don't throw scripture around. But I'm showing how these are used and how often what happens with scripture is one thing is taken to benefit the church and used out of context or without context and used to control and manipulate people. And these teachings, they have historical roots since early Christianity. There was a strong emphasis on asceticism and renunciation of material possessions as a path to spiritual purity. This perspective is not just in Christianity and Catholicism too. I mean, look at Mother Teresa, God bless her. But this was this glorification of poverty, right? This perspective, it's been reinforced by various church leaders whose teachings may have been well intended, but they often resulted in a negative perception of wealth and of the people who pursued it. And no matter how much we desire abundance and wealth, if there's some part of us that believes that it's evil, or that in having wealth, it's going to make us bad or make us not loved by God, then our subconscious is so much stronger than our conscious awareness that it's going to continue to lead us into these situations of lack and of scarcity. But also we could look into the church and see how troubling it is, all of these mega churches and their leaders, because these leaders are often preaching these same messages about the virtues of humility and poverty, but they're living these lavish lifestyles funded by their congregations. They're also not paying taxes. They justify their wealth by claiming it's a sign of God's favor. Like, look how much God is lifting me up, but they're discouraging their followers from seeking financial success. And not only is it hypocritical to demonize wealth for a congregation when it's being celebrated in its leadership, but it's also very manipulative, right? Because the thing that the church depends on is need and scarcity, right? It's God can give you all these things that you're lacking. And when you're empowered and you have everything that you need, you're a lot less likely to be manipulated by these teachings. That's not to say that there aren't people with money in the church, or the people with money in the church are bad, but especially if you look in our political landscape now, a lot of the evangelicals and people who are claiming to be Christian and are living wealthy, they're not in the church because of their love for God. They're in the church because it is helping them to perpetuate dynamics that are benefiting them, usually white men. And no, I'm not demonizing white men. I'm not demonizing white women. I'm not demonizing whiteness. I'm not demonizing anything. I'm just pointing out that often the people in power keep that power by subjugating others. And that is certainly what we've seen in patriarchy and white supremacy, which is built within our systems here and all around the world. So it doesn't go without mentioning because it's important. It is part of what we're seeing. And if you look at the politics nowadays and the politicians who are claiming to be Christians and then how they live, even one of the nominees for the 2024 election, has been a con man his entire life and career and is being put on a pedestal like he's been chosen by God for whatever reason. And that's because of brainwashing and manipulation and control. And this is easier to do when people are in lack, when people need something. And it's, the church likes to use this like punishing dynamic of God. And we've talked about this before, like the punishing God. And that if God's not pleased with you, you're not going to be abundant. So you're stuck in this scarcity mindset, and it's buried in your subconscious, and you're constantly self-sabotaging without even realizing it. And it just perpetuates and deepens the struggle. And through that struggle, there's more and more lack created, which makes us continue to feel like we're not pleasing God. So we do more, and we give more, and we give more offering, and we give more tithes, and we give more of our free time, free labor to the church, and we give and give and give, just trying to make God happy so that we can be blessed. And I invite you to consider that that is an endless spiral downward. There is no end to it. Trust me, I did all the volunteering. I did all of the work. I did the tithing, and I did the offering, and I did it. And all it ever left me was feeling worse and worse. So I want to challenge some of these limiting beliefs. Again, these teachings are often used to serve the leaders and to control followers by promoting this, virtuous idea of poverty, and that wealth is inherently bad. And it leads us to eventually have a fear-based mindset around money. So it's, even if we're trying so hard and we're following all the steps and we're working to build things, if deep down we believe that, again, that this is going to make us bad or make God not like us, then we're going to continue to self-sabotage. But think about, again, I'm going to bring it back, because although I don't see Source or God as an entity, it is a consciousness. It is an energy. It is everything. It's me talking right now. It's the computer that's recording me. It's the air that I'm breathing. Like, it's Source. Everything comes from Source, right? So everything is of Source. And that Source is pure abundance. It is pure abundance. And we are a reflection of that Source, which means that we are pure abundance. So I'm going to talk about I am. In the Bible, there is this reference, I am the great I am. Like, God is the great I am. And the great thing about that is that I am is infinite. I am wealth. I am love. I am abundance. I am health. I am vibrancy. I am joy. What we say we are, what we speak into existence, is what we are. We are inherently connected to all aspects of existence. I am Melissa. I am everything. I am. That's the thing. It's like, you can't take that away from someone. A person is always their own I am, right? And it may get a little deep, but just kind of giving an idea so that you can recognize our inherent worth and potential. When we recognize that we are connected to all aspects of existence, including abundance, then we can tap into that Source, right? So we can begin to dismantle these beliefs that have been completely imposed on us. And we can start to shift our mindset to allow us to see wealth not as a source of guilt or of something bad, but as a tool for positive change. So if you look, of course, there are exceptions, like to everything. You've got the Walmart chick that is a bazillionaire and not working for the greater good. But especially with women, like, when you put wealth in the hands of women, you can look at what they do with it. The majority of women are very charitable and working towards, the greater good of humanity with their wealth. And so I believe that, not that men shouldn't be wealthy too, but it's clear, with the wage gap and the way that we've been taught, especially as women, that humility is like key, and being humble, and it's created this dependence also, perpetuated by patriarchy. So I'm speaking to women and men, but specifically when women have wealth, which has been discouraged, we see much different things happening with it. And the thing about money is not evil. Money is not the root of evil. Money is an amplifier. If you are an asshole and you get a bunch of money, you're Elon Musk. You're going to do a bunch of asshole stuff with it. He's like the supervillain in the movies that is enacting revenge on everybody that makes him mad and spewing out all of his hate and using his money to control and manipulate everything that he doesn't like a giant petulant baby. He's got this money and he's using it. That's an amplifier of who he is. And then you look at people like Sarah Blakely, who was the creator of Spanx, who is a billionaire who, by her own right, not off the backs of other people, her company, her employees have been paid fair wages. Even when she went public with her company and put it on the stock market, every single employee that worked for Spanx got a round trip ticket for their whole family to wherever they wanted to go and $10,000 to go spend on vacation as a reward. So there's the difference. It's an amplifier of who she is. She took her wealth and she takes her wealth and they do these events, her and her husband at their home, and they live abundantly and they enjoy their life, but they also use their money to amplify who they are, which is to create good in the world. She has, educational programs in Africa, educating girls that would otherwise be spending all of their day walking to go get water for the family, to give them a chance in their life. She's using that wealth, like so many others, to amplify the goodness, to amplify who she is. And that's what money is. Money is neutral, right? Money isn't good or bad. Money is an amplifier. So, think about that. Consider how the message is what you've heard about money and how that's impacted your relationship. Deep down, even though you need money to survive, which is how they can use it so easily to manipulate because our survival depends on it. It activates the fear within us. And think about how money has activated and created a sense of fear, right? So I had this huge awakening the other day and I was listening to Erin Lyons. She's amazing. My new favorite person to listen to. And she said something that just really clicked, but it was interesting because I went into the conversation. I was like, there's something in here for me. And I spoke to my higher self. I was like, whatever it is, let me hear it. There's something here that is meant to change me. Let me hear it. Let me really hear it. Let it shift me. And it did. It shifted me so hard. What I realized and learned is that money is a consciousness, just like everything. We talk about AI, is created, sure, it's technology, but it also has a consciousness. Everything that's created has a consciousness. And, souls, I believe in reincarnation. For me, it's quite obvious. Believe how you want to believe. But my understanding is that, our soul chooses what we're going to do in this life. Wherever our souls came from, they come here with a purpose. And again, we're not a slave to a purpose, right? We have free will, we have choice in the matter, but our souls know what it wanted to accomplish. So when we work in alignment with that, it's going to lead to a more joyful and expansive life because we're living in alignment with our truth. And on a little side note, so many people say that love is the highest frequency, and I challenge that and say that truth is the highest frequency, and love is a result of truth. But there's nothing more true than true, right? There's nothing more real than truth. So within that is love. And I believe that, a source is a source of unconditional love. And that when we live in a place of unconditional love, that we feel that expansiveness in our souls and that joy, it comes as a result of that. But it's in that saying that is to see that money is also an expression of love. It's a way of supporting us and a way of creating with us. But also realizing that money has a consciousness. Just like I have a soul that chose to come here and be Melissa in whatever timeline or whatever reality and whoever else I've been and will be, am all at the same time. But I'm Melissa right now. I am Melissa. That's my consciousness. So my consciousness is here as Melissa. So money has a consciousness. There was a soul that agreed to it. I'll be money. I will go and I will be money. And money gets here because this soul's thinking, cool, I get to work with humans through all these senses to create amazing things. They can come up with it in their minds. They can create these ideas and these desires. And I get to be their partner in creating these desires. How fun is that? But then money gets here and it's being used to control and enslave and manipulate. And people feel imprisoned to it. People feel victim of it. People hate it. People have all these bad things to say. And money's like, whoa, what did I do? Like, I'm neutral here, friend. Like, we can be besties. And that really shook me because I realized that I have been a prisoner to money. I have felt victimized by money, and I have worked so much on on being a victim mindset, clearing that up, empowering myself. But I didn't realize that I've been living in this prison of I'm a victim of money. Money is bad. Money is letting me down. There's never enough. It's always a disappointment. Like, why isn't there more of it? I need more of it so that I can do this, I can do that. And I'm scared and is these feelings, these negative feelings about money. And so I thought about this in like, if I were in a relationship, if I were dating someone or if I were friends with someone and every time I came near them, they were like, is that all you got? Like, couldn't you brought more with you? Like, or, telling me that I'm evil or that I'm always like not enough, or I'm a disappointment, or I'm controlling them, or I'm not showing up for them in the way that I'm supposed to. I would not want to be with that person. And so when we think about money as a consciousness, think about that. Like, are we creating a hospitable and loving environment for money to come into? When I think about, okay, when money shows up for me, it can amplify who I am. It can make me more of who I am. It can give me the freedom to choose from day to day how I use my energy and how I create. When money comes to me, I use it to create a ripple effect and to create a positive impact on the world. When money comes to me, we have fun and we go on vacations and we pick up the check when we go out to dinner with our friends, and we buy pretty things that make our eyes happy and delicious things that make our taste buds happy and our nose happy. And we can do all of this amazing, wonderful work with money because it is neutral, and what we do with it is up to us. So Amanda Frances is someone who I've been following for a while. When I listen to her, she's got this very Valley Girl voice. So at first I was like, oh my God. But her words were so powerful, I couldn't stop listening to them, right? And when I listened to her, it literally shifts something in me. My vibration shifts. And I was listening to her book, Rich as Fuck. And she's very unapologetic about money. She was a theologian. She also grew up in an evangelical cult and had these same limiting beliefs around money, and was becoming, first she went to school for theology and learned so much about religion and the Bible and all of this. And then she went to school to become like a therapist. And while she was doing that, she decided to start coaching, and she has in turn created a very, very abundant life for herself. But she wrote this book, Rich as Fuck, and I highly recommend it. She emphasizes this, and she really breaks it down into the like biblical parts of it and the religious parts of it, if you want to go deeper into that conversation. And she really shows you how this works and how it amplifies our intentions. Like, if we're good people with positive intentions, money will only enable us to do more good in the world, right? Like, that's my dream. I'm creating this business right now, and I'm not going to go into the details, but every aspect of it is going to uplift everyone that it touches. It is uplifting everyone that it touches already. And it's meant to take me around the world in a way that uplifts women around the world and Indigenous communities. So I'm really excited to share that with you. There's a big announcement coming soon in about 6 weeks. I'll announce a date and everything, but understanding that we can use money for good. We can use it for fun. It's not evil. It's neutral, and it's up to us, like, how we amplify that. But again, like, thinking about money as a consciousness that is excited to co-create with us, it just created such a profound shift with me. Like I woke up the next day, instead of worrying like, oh, I've got this bill to pay and how am I going to do and what's the right way, what's the quickest way to get money in my bank account so I can pay these bills. I woke up like, hey, bestie, what are we going to do today? Let's have some fun. Show me what we can co-create. And it's made me more productive. It's put more joy into what I'm doing. And I just have this deep surrender and trust that money's going to show up for me because I'm treating her with love. I'm creating this hospitable environment and inviting her into some co-creation of fun and joy and excitement and impact. You know, I want to serve the world with this abundance that I'm creating, right? And then, you know, the source of this, again, source energy or God or however you see that as an expression, like is, you know, the source of abundance. Like everything is created from source. That is abundance. I mean, if you could wrap your head around it, like everything, and that there's no limit to it, that it's infinite, that it will continue to create and expand and create and expand. This shows that there is no lack, that scarcity and lack, they don't exist except in our mind. It's the only place they exist. There is no lack. There's nothing lacking. Everything that we need exists or can exist, can be created. It wouldn't make sense. Think about it as a parent and a child. I use this analogy a lot, but your child is born into the world and you're like, yep, I've got this breast milk and I could feed you, but you got to earn it. You got to prove to me your loyalty and your love, and then I'll give you just enough to stay alive. I mean, come on. That's not how it works. And our source, our creator, doesn't see us that way either. We are an extension of that source. We are an extension of that creation. We are co-creators. We are the physical manifestation of co-creation. Like we can meet source in the middle with our physicality and source's infinite abundance, and we meet in the middle and we create. We create newness and, again, joy, abundance. That is the vibe, right? The idea that source would withhold blessings as a form of punishment is just not in alignment with our true nature. It's just not. Our essence is to be abundant and joyful. The concept of a punishing God who uses lessons and withholding to control us, it's a distortion of our truth. And that is a reflection, that is an amplification of the men who put this into place. So instead, recognizing that we're inherently abundant beings and the universe supports our growth and prosperity. I want to go into some places where abundance exists outside of money. Abundance exists all around us and within us. Just think about how many cells are in our body, right? And the cells within those cells. But as always, y'all know me, I'm going to go back to nature. Nature is just such a beautiful example of source and its abundance. So like a single apple tree, think about this. It can produce hundreds of apples. And each of those apples contains a seed that can grow multiple seeds that can grow into new trees that create hundreds of apples. And just think about a seed. Like you see this little hard seed. It never ceases to amaze me. I love to watch plants grow. I will go check my little sprouts every day and just sit there and stare at them. I love to watch plants grow because it just blows my mind how this tiny little seed can open up and become like this fruitful plant, tree, like whatever. It just continues to grow and grow. Like there's no scarcity there. It comes with everything it needs to fully manifest, to fully self-actualize. So do we. Think of yourself as a seed. You're not going to come into this world without what you need to self-actualize. It doesn't work that way. But if you look at the ocean. It's vast, it's huge, it's filled with life, and it's constantly renewing itself. The air that we breathe is abundant. The sun provides endless energy. It never runs out of energy. There's no limit to it. Just come in my yard and you'll see the abundance of weeds. No matter how much I cut them down, they're just going to keep coming back. And keep coming back. Look at the abundance of humans on the planet. I would like to say the abundance of animals and other animals and species, but they're dwindling. But there's still an abundance. I just but even within ourselves is abundance, right? There's an abundance of love, there's an abundance of creativity, there's an abundance of potential. Not just an abundance, but it's infinite. There's no end to it. And that's the real example here, right? That there is no end. Like, to say abundance, you could think, oh, there's a lot of it, and then it'll eventually run out. No, it's infinite abundance. It doesn't end. Its source is infinite. So, like with creativity, one thing I've learned is the more I use creativity, the more of it there is. I don't run out of ideas. The more of my ideas that I act upon, the more ideas I get. And I get good ideas, y'all. What I'm building right now has like 10 different facets to it. Because I just keep getting these amazing, like, rocket ship ideas. And thanks to my neurodivergence, it's hard to focus on just one. But I have found a way to make them all work together. So it's coming. But I don't run out of creativity. The more I create, the more ideas I have, the more I want to create. I'm never worried about someone taking an idea that I have. In fact, it happens all the time. I do have like this, I'm a prolific creator, as my friend Mary says. I'm a prolific creator. So if I come up with something and somebody else uses it at their own, that's fine. I've got more. There's so much because I'm infinite and I'm abundant. And because of the shame and guilt and coercion and control that the church has used around money, that I've had the most difficult finding an expression of that in my life. But I do not have difficult finding an expression of any other form of abundance. It's all within me. So when I made this connection of money having its own consciousness, it made me more aware of how I talk to money, how I treat money, how I feel about money. And now I just have this feeling of money's got my back. Like, we're good. We're going to have some fun together. We are having fun together. We're creating and co-creating together and making magical things happen because I'm meeting money halfway, right? I'm showing up and doing my action part, and money's showing up and giving me the inspiration and letting me know which steps to take. So, as always, I don't give you the problem without giving you a solution. So let's talk about some practical tips, some spiritual practices that we can use to create a healthy money mindset. One of those is gratitude. I know you'll hear it over and over again, and everybody says it because it's true. By expressing gratitude for what we have, we attract more abundance into our lives. Again, it goes into that mindset of not enough. If we feel like what we've got is not enough, then we're going to get more not enough. But if we see what we have, and maybe all my bills aren't covered, but I know what is covered. I have food in my fridge. I'm still sitting here in my home. I still have my car to drive. Things keep showing up. Opportunities keep showing up. Ideas keep coming. Like, I am expressing gratitude for what I do have and not focusing on what I don't have. And practicing that gratitude, there's even science that shows it, like neuroscience that shows that it changes the way our brain thinks. When we start looking, because we have this confirmation bias, right? We really want to be right. And we don't really want to be right because we suck. We really want to be right because, again, we evolved that way for survival, right? We needed to know what was going on in order to survive. But we still have this confirmation bias that's built into our brains that when we expect something, we will find it. If we're looking for something, we're going to find it. Even if there's something else that exists there, we're not even going to see the thing that exists because we don't believe that it exists. We have this confirmation bias. We're going to be looking for the things that confirm what we believe. I don't know if any of you guys ever watched The Secret, but there was a story there that I still find fascinating, but it's very true. Like, there were these indigenous people and they had not met settlers yet, right? Or the colonizers. And they're looking out and on the horizon and they just keep noticing that the water's moving different in this one place. They don't see anything there. They just see that the water is moving differently in this place. And they keep looking and keep looking. So eventually their brain kind of understands that something has to be there because of the way that the water's moving around it as though something is there. And then they were able to see that there was this big ship, the big ship that was coming in. That ship was there the whole time, but they couldn't see it because their brains had this bias that it didn't know that it existed. It couldn't even see it, right? And that's how it works with everything in our lives. Like if we're looking for it, if we believe that it's there, it will show up for us. And by practicing gratitude, by showing gratitude for what is there, appreciation. I like appreciation better. We'll just say that. Showing appreciation for what is there, it's going to open our minds to seeing more that we can appreciate. There's a song I love. It's an affirmation song that I listen to, but it's gratitude. Please bring through 4 more things to be grateful for. Like what a beautiful way to manifest, right? I'm so grateful. Bring me more things to be grateful for. And that's just such a different mindset of I don't have enough. Please save me. So again, think about it like you're making friends, right? If you have one friend and you go and you see them and every time you see them, they're like, I'm so thankful for you. I really appreciate you in my life. Thank you so much. I love what you bring to my life. I love the joy that you bring me. I love your company. I appreciate you so much. I just appreciate who you are. You're going to want to spend more time with that person, right? But then if you have a friend that every time you see them, they're like, is that all you got? Like, you could be better. You could do better. Like, come on. Is this it? Like, we need more. I need more from you. I need more from you. This isn't enough. You're not going to want to hang out with that person, right? So the more we express gratitude, the more abundance we welcome into our lives. But also, again, it shifts our brain into looking for more things to be grateful for. If we're looking for things that aren't enough, we're going to see more things that aren't enough. But if we're looking for things to be grateful for, we're going to see more and more things to be grateful for. That's just how it works. So even just in visualization, like this is another practice that we can use. If you imagine yourself living in abundance, feeling the freedom and peace that it brings, because the feeling is so important in manifestation, then you're going to welcome in that. If you imagine yourself coming into every disaster and what you're feeling is lack and scarcity and fear, then you're going to create experiences that further those feelings within yourself, right? And again, this is how this fear-based control has been used against us because we need money for survival. It is what it is. We live under capitalism. I'm going to use money to redefine capitalism. But we live under capitalism, which thanks to corporatism has become this big evil, right? So even in our politics, you can see how they'll use this fear, this scarcity, because we need it for our survival. When they start using scarcity, the economy is crashing. It creates this, it triggers the survival instinct in us and makes us feel this lack and scarcity, which brings about more dependence on them. But when we see ourselves as abundant, when we can look around, if you're feeling lack in your bank account, but you can look outside and see an abundance of leaves on the trees and see the abundance of clouds in the skies or the abundance of rain that's falling down around you, or feel the abundance of love and creativity and honor within yourself. Like when we can focus ourselves on abundance, we're going to get more abundance. So even in visualization, this works. Like what you imagine yourself to be like what you see in your mind and what you feel is what you're going to get more of, right? Another one is affirmations. But the thing is like, I'm not here teaching you manifestation techniques because it's so much deeper than that. Again, people use that scarcity mindset to get you to pay a whole bunch of money so they can teach you how to manifest money effortlessly. You don't need that. You don't need that. You need to go inside and find your blocks, work through them, and then give yourself what it needs. Give yourself the love and abundance that it needs. But affirmations can be helpful to keep us focused on what we want to be feeling. But if we're feeling resistance to the affirmation, it's going to work against us. So if I'm saying I'm a millionaire and I don't feel like a millionaire, I'm going to be hearing, no, you're not. And Manifestation doesn't just work in the way that what you say is what you get. It's energy, right? And energy knows energy. So it's recognizing what you're feeling more than what you're saying. And if what you're saying is not in alignment with what you're feeling, it's only going to create more resistance, right? More lack. So if you don't feel like I'm abundant in financially abundant in all the ways, if you say that and you don't feel it, it's only going to create more resistance. But you can ask yourself, what if I were abundant financially in all the ways? What if every time I woke up, I made money in my sleep? What if I never had to worry about money and I could be free to choose every day what I want to do with that day? What if I had enough money that when someone I love came to me in need, I could just help them without even thinking twice about it? What if I had enough money? What if I had, just eliminate that word enough? I keep saying that, but what if I had the money to go to this vacation and do all of these fun things, right? So if you don't feel it, like the affirmations, I just want to, before I tell you to do affirmations, give you a worthy explanation of that. If you don't feel what you're saying, it's only going to make things worse. But you can soften yourself up to that with some what ifs, and those what ifs will start to shift your mindset so that when you speak in affirmations, you can speak things that you actually believe and feel. Right? Visualizing your financial goals, vision boards. I'm all about the vision boards. Again, this is like a very shallow form of manifestation. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I believe truly the satisfaction comes from self-actualization. So it's going to come from within. Also, when you have that self-satisfaction, you can create vision boards and you can create things that are going to help you manifest more of what you want. Right? But if you're just manifesting stuff, it's not going to give you the satisfaction that you think it is. It may for a few moments, but then we're always going to want more. That is our nature, because we are abundant, because we are creators. It's the next thing, right? Like Kobe Bryant, wins a medal and he's like, okay, I want another one. That doesn't mean he's greedy. It's just he's continuing to create, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding, that the self-actualization is where we get the satisfaction, then the physical things manifest as a result of it, right? So aligning yourself with your values, understanding what your values are, and aligning your spending with those values. Like, am I just spending money to, like a pacifier, to soothe something within myself? Or am I using my money to create things that I want in my life? Am I using my money to uplift others? Am I using my money to bring more beauty into the world and more joy into the world? Or am I just trying to get some stuff that I think is going to make me feel better? And there's nothing wrong with the stuff, but it's not going to make you feel better. The feeling better has to happen first before the stuff, if you want to really enjoy it fully and to continue to enjoy it, right? Also, financial education and support, something I've really been working on over the past year. Like, when I want to show money, that when money comes to me, that I know how to use it, that I know how to use it to create more, that I know how to use it abundantly. And by having financial education that especially most of us who grew up in church did not get properly, because we were taught to be humble and to give 10% of our income to the church, that financial education and support in that is a really great way to kind of shift our mindset around that, and to know that when it comes, we can make more of it and not just blow it on things that really aren't important to us and aren't moving us towards our goals, right? So to wrap things up, I just want to remind you that wealth is not inherently evil. It's how we use it that matters. By redefining our relationship with money and embracing financial abundance, we can live authentically. Y'all know I love that. And we can uplift those around us. I want to, before we go, I'm going to leave you with some affirmations. I know. That's why I gave you the whole precursor to affirmations. So if I'm saying it and it doesn't feel right to you, throw that what if on it, right? But I just want to leave you feeling this feeling of abundance, because once you can tap into that feeling, then you know what to come back to, right? So even if things are falling apart around you, it seems financially, you can still tap into this feeling of abundance, and it's going to keep you from perpetuating that and going further and further down into this cycle, right? So I went with some affirmations that are a bit softer, right? That I feel like we could all really tap into more easily, that can help raise us up into this vibration of abundance. So even if you're driving, that's okay. Keep your eyes open. If you're not driving, you're welcome to close your eyes. Just tune into your body. Just like get comfortable, tap in, take some deep breaths, whatever you need to do to really ground and tap into your connection to yourself. So you can listen to these and just let them sink into your subconscious, or you can repeat them. I'm going to take pauses in between. It's up to you. Repeat them out loud, repeat them to yourself, come back to it and repeat them again, whatever works for you. I had so much fun recording the meditation for our last episode that I'm going to do that again. I'm going to record a meditation for this after I get off this recording, and I'll put it on YouTube. I'll put the link in the details of the show in the notes so that you can go back to it and listen to that. I'm starting right now with like shorter meditations, like 10-minute guided meditations, and we'll work up to bigger ones. But right now, I think this is a great way to just like quickly tap in. So you're going to be welcome to come back to that as well. But here we go. Sink in, connect. All right. I honor my journey and trust in my connection with Source. I am open to receiving guidance and support from the universe. I release any blocks or fears around money and abundance. I'm learning to recognize and embrace my inherent worth. I trust that my financial situation is evolving for the better. I am a co-creator with Source, and abundance flows to me effortlessly. Money is a conscious energy that loves to support my highest good. I am in harmony with the energy of money, and we work together to create prosperity. The universe is abundant, and I'm a natural part of this infinite flow. I attract financial opportunities that align with my soul's purpose. My abundant nature allows me to give and receive freely. I am a magnet for wealth, and I use it to create positive change in the world. Every day, I deepen my relationship with money and Source, welcoming greater prosperity. I am grateful for the co-creative partnership I share with money and the universe. My life is a reflection of the divine abundance that is my birthright. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you got something out of this, please go leave me a 5-star review if it's on Apple Podcast, or any other podcast platform. The reviews mean everything to other people finding this and hearing these messages. If you're showing up every week, I appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Go leave me that 5-star review. And once again, go leave me a 5-star review. I love you all. Thanks for being here. As always, stay authentic. See you next week. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, share your thoughts by leaving a 5-star review. It really helps more people to find this space. Want to go deeper? Head over to my website at leavingthechurchtoFindGod.com. There, you can make a donation and make sure that we continue to have these conversations. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, if you or someone you know would like to join the podcast and tell your story, please reach out to me on Instagram at AuthenticallyMelly. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep finding your own unique connection to something greater. Until next time, stay authentic, stay open, and aloha.